Good afternoon. Good morning. Um, it looks like we are live on Facebook. Yikes. Um, so, what are we talking about today? We're talking about hashtags. If you're watching this live, if you can do a hashtag live, if you're catching this on replay, hashtag replay, or hashtag value if you found any value in this, or a hashtag Heather go home if this was the silliest thing that you watched all day. So, what are we really talking about? The Secure Act 2.0. Sadly, not as good as The Godfather 2.0 or whatever the second version of the movie. It does improve upon the first Secure Act, and I think some people will be inspired to save by it, but I'm not sure that for the TSP, as things are now, it's really going to benefit the federal community. So, the Secure Act makes about 96 changes to retirement. Change number one. Nope, I'm not going to go over all 96. I'm sorry to disappoint. But here are some highlights of the more interesting ones. And of course, for most of these to apply to TSP, more legislation needs to be passed. But here's to hoping. The one that will apply to TSP is required minimum distributions at 75. But this might not always be the best idea to wait that long. Once you hit retirement, you start playing the lowest possible tax bracket game to make sure your Medicare is affordable and your Social Security isn't taxed out of existence. But if you wait too long to take your RMDs, it might push your income up too high. So it might be prudent to take the money out sooner or look at retirement options that don't have RMDs. What doesn't have RMDs anymore? Your employer Roth retirement. So that might be the most useful part of this legislation for federal employees, and it doesn't need any additional legislation to have it apply to TSP. But then there's the reality of the situation. You probably need your TSP money to live on once you retire. And can you really wait till you hit 75? So then the option of waiting till 75 becomes a rich person's game. Now, let's talk about my favorite new incentive. It's now legal to incentivize you with low value gift cards to save money for retirement. I guess that'll take care of the can I still afford Starbucks if I save more for retirement argument. Again, this benefit falls into the additional legislation bucket for TSP, but hey, wouldn't it be nice? Contribute 5%. We'll match you and give you a $10 gift card to Wally World once a year. But for everybody, including TSP recipients, the most useful part is the new 401k Lost and Found. If you're like the average American, you've had a few jobs and you might have lost track of some of the money along the way. Or in case of a sudden death, you can find your loved one's retirement money that they forgot to tell you about. One of my college friends lived this nightmare when her dad passed away. with money had lost track of showing up in places she didn't even know to look. If you ask me, this is way overdue, seeing as we all have to put our social security numbers on our retirement plans. It should be pretty easy to find them. And then there's the student loan provision, which is another one that requires additional legislation for TSP adoption. Companies will pay matching contributions to retirement as you pay off your student loans. So if normally you'd have to contribute 5% into an employee retirement plan to get matched 5%, now if you pay that 5% to your student loan, your company will be able to match you that 5%. What's the downside in this? This might be a forecast that all those loans might not be forgiven after all. If they're passing legislation on student loans and how to incentivize you to pay them off, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but if I was in Vegas, the odds look bad on forgiveness with this turn of events. There's also provisions for emergency savings account, which include withdrawing $1,000 a year from your retirement penalty-free, with 3 years to pay it back. So if you envision emergencies that are more than $1,000, you might want to look into more options. There is a provision where they put on a Roth IRA onto your retirement that's also a emergency savings plan that you can access, but even that is only about $2,500 a year. So again, I don't know what kind of rock people are living in, but most emergencies, like, oh my goodness, I need a new roof, or oh my goodness, my car got stolen or totaled, those emergencies are usually a little bit higher of a price tag. So, in caption, as a federal employee, the Secure Act does not help much. So, anyway, one big announcement here, besides throwing your girl some hashtags while you're watching this, is we are moving this live to Wednesdays at 5:30 Eastern. So you can either catch me on your way home for your comedy act with some retirement and or planning aspects, or during your last coffee break of the day, whichever comes to you in that time zone. All right, everybody. It was nice talking to you, and I will see you on the flip side. Aloha.